Hi there, and welcome to this week's Arbury Home. Now, my voice may seem a little bit out of sync. I have no idea how I've managed to do this, but I managed to record without voice. So anyway, this week we've got the main course. I'm going to catch up very quickly. We've got our beef fillet medallions with green beans, mashed potato, peppercorn sauce. So there we go. We've got our beef fillet medallions in the vacuum pack bag, our green beans, green peppercorn sauce, a little bit of butter for our green beans, parsley, and then our mashed potato, which all we've done, brought a pot of water to the boil, turned it down to a simmer, added the vacuum packed mashed potato, and then just going to let it sit there for about 15 minutes just to warm through. So first thing we're going to do is our beef fillet medallions. So we just open the bag, take them out of the bag, onto a plate, and then just lift them apart. There's 3 per portion. We just nicely space them so we can season them. Then we're going to put a frying pan on. We want that nice and hot. Add a little bit of oil. Bring that up, getting really nice and hot. It's very important. We want it as hot as we can because the pieces of beef themselves are quite thin, and what we don't want to do, we don't want to overcook them. We want to get a nice colour on them as well. We don't want them too anemic, and that's it. So all we're going to do is season them with salt and pepper, both sides of course. There we go. It's interesting doing this. You forget what you said half the time during all these videos. Anyway, I've got this frying pan. I've managed to put too much oil in, so we're just going to take a little bit out. Okay. So make sure it's nice and hot. We almost want that smoking point, okay? So we're just going to take the beef, going to lay them in the pan, and always lay things away from you so the oil will splash away from you, because there's nothing worse than a burn. And then all we want to do is leave them there for about 30 seconds. Don't need to move them. We just want to get a nice caramelization on them. Oh, I've run off now just to go and wash my hands. Very important to do that after touching raw meat. There we go. You know, I took that pan down. I have no idea what I took that pan for. There's obviously something going through my head. So all I've done, turned the beef off, showing you nice little colour. Again, going to leave it for another 30 seconds. Remember, they are nice and thin. All we want to do is, we don't want to overcook them. We want to keep them nice and rare, because what we will be doing is finishing them in the sauce afterwards. So just lay them out onto your plate. After your 30 seconds, that's it, perfect. And we're just going to let them rest. So we're going to take our pan that's left over, so it's got a little bit of the beef juice. We're going to put our peppercorn sauce in there. Now, what can happen sometimes with little creamy sauces is you put them into hot, they can slightly split or they can reduce a little bit. So all we're going to do is add a little bit of water, because we don't want it to go too thick. Just helps bring it back like that. And then all we want to do is turn it down just to keep it warm, okay? We don't want this boiling anymore. All it's going to do is, if you boil it, it's just going to get nice and thick, too thick. So we're going to take our mashed potato out of the bag into a little bowl. We're going to open this. Just remember, this is hot. I've been doing this for a few years, so I get away with the hot on my hands. All we want to do is just squeeze it out. You may find it's easier to use a little rubber glove or something like that. All I want to do now is just mix it back together. What can happen sometimes is with potatoes and then the butter, when you're heating them up, they can split and separate. So we just want to bring it back together. All I want to do now is just turn the pot of water up to the boil. We're going to drop our beans in there. Another little pan, we're going to put the butter in so we can toss the beans off. There we go. Right. It's amazing how much I talk about nothing sometimes when I sit and watch this. Anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to drop our beef in while we're waiting for everything else. Again, really important. I can't stress to you the importance of not boiling the meat. It must be really nice and warm and gentle, alright? So we're just going to pop it in. Again, if you got to remember, if it boils, it can overcook, and that's the last thing we want to do to a beautiful piece of fillet. We want to keep it nice and medium rare. So we pop the beef back in. Any juices that are in the plate, we pop them in there as well. So now the beans are up to the boil. Just going to take them out with a nice slotted spoon into the butter, and we're just going to give them a little bit of a toss. I realised I did a little bit of a chefy toss here. You can do whatever you like with them, as long as they get nicely covered. Season them to taste. Right, and then I think we're ready to go. So, pop the mashed potato in the middle. Green beans are going to go on top, like so. There we go. Alright, and then we'll just turn over the meat. We want to get it nicely coated. In with the parsley. Give that a good little mix. There we go. Super. Lay that on top of the green beans. Perfect. That's it. And then we're nice and generous. Pour the sauce over. And this for me is one of my favourite dishes ever. A little bit of beef with peppercorn sauce. Absolutely delicious. Now Iona has now gone out with Mummy, so she's not here to do this little recording, but of course, here we go. There we go. And this is your second dish.